And from what I heard, it's like very detailed screenshots with text messages and all of that. Um, Dream has a shaky past. I don't know if you guys know, but he was married to Nivea and he was married to Christina Milian. With Nivea, there wasn't too much drama or anything like that. It was more like a love triangle with Lil Wayne mixed in there. And then with Christina Milian, that's when he was cheating or something like that. And he even said like he didn't even want to watch his daughter because then it would be expected of him, and he don't want no expectations on watching his own child. The dream, I should say, was a trip back in the day because even this lawsuit goes back to like 2014, the 2010s. But I mean, if it's true, it's still relevant no matter what. You know what I mean? But yeah, the dream would talk reckless in interviews and stuff like that because I've been doing my own research into the dream and stuff like that because I want to do a longer form video on all of this because sometimes we gotta go back to the past to know what's happening in the future. But let me bring up the picture right now. And again, a lot of people will be all like, what does Beyonce have to do with this AT2? It seemed like you hate Beyonce. No, I spent almost $1,000 on them Renaissance tickets. I don't hate Beyonce. My stepsister is the one that made me a fan of Beyonce. I don't hate her. But she has a choice. And we're going to get into it. Don't worry. She's going to have make a choice. As you guys know, Dream writes for Beyonce. If you look at the Renaissance album, you look at the Cowboy Carter album, he's all in the writer's credit. So at this point, Beyonce has a choice to either be like, all right, I'm cutting all ties with you, or I'm still going to rock with you until you're proven, guilty or innocent. But with Beyonce being kind of like, they say Beyonce is a feminist. Do you stand on the side of the woman or do you stay with your friend? Now with Dream, he didn't necessarily say that he has proof to deny that these allegations are false or anything like that. But he did put out a statement, and I want to go ahead and get a statement. I seen it on the Shade Room. Because we got to be fair. Before I tell you guys the details on what's going on, let me read a statement. So the Dream said, I oppose all forms of harassment and have always strived to help people realize their career goals. As someone committed to making a positive impact on my fellow artists and the world at large, I am deeply offended and saddened by these allegations. So he's saying that he's offended by the allegations. Hell, I'll be offended too. Y'all, it says a lot in there. But basically, this was a whole manipulation thing, according to the allegations in the lawsuit. There was an artist by the name of, her name is Chanaaz Mangroe, but her real name is Chanaaz Mangroe. She is from the Netherlands. She was an aspiring artist, songwriter. She wanted to basically be a star. Well, Dream had found her and basically was all like, hey, let's link up. I can write for you. I can make you a star. I want to make you like Beyonce and Rihanna. And we all know he wrote Umbrella for Rihanna. And then, of course, we know he wrote for Beyonce. I can make you like them. The girl was a big fan of Beyonce and was all like, oh, okay, cool. There's even text messages where he's saying like, oh, I can even get you to open for Beyonce. Now, Beyonce usually don't do opening acts. So when was she going to like, but again, this was back in the 2010s, right? He promised that, she was going to have this big record deal and he was going to even give her an advance out of his own pocket. For those of you who don't know the music industry, usually what happens is that they'll sign an artist, right? And then they'll give them an advance. But technically, the advance, you owe that money back. So they're fronting you, say they give you 500,000. Well, yeah, that's nice. They're giving you 500,000, but then when they take all, your travel expenses, housing, all that, they take all that money back. That's not free money. That advance is an advance, just like a payday loan. Unfortunately, I know too well about payday loans, but it's just like a payday loan. You got to pay all that plus the interest. You know, you got to pay all that back. So anyway, it's also in here regarding trafficking as well because it was in Los Angeles and in Atlanta. At first, she came to Atlanta, then she went to Los Angeles, and then went back to Atlanta. A lot of moving parts in here. So I want to go ahead and read you what USA Today said, and then I'm going to give you guys a little bit further details. Again, if you're just joining us, make sure you guys hit that like button. But trigger warning, trigger warning. It's heavy and it's a lot, you guys. I do want to start out by warning you guys of that. So USA Today says, The Dream, the singer-songwriter who has worked with artists like Beyoncé and Rihanna and more, has been hit with a bombshell lawsuit accusing him of R-word, trafficking, and more. Chanaaz Mangroe alleges that Grammy winner, whose real name is Terrace, and I can't say his last name, lured her into an abusive, violent, and manipulative relationship in what was nothing short of a prolonged nightmare, according to the complaint filed in California and provided to USA Today on Tuesday. And she used that law in California. I don't think it's called the Survivors Act. Could someone tell me real quick? I had the name of it. It doesn't list it in here, but you know how basically in California, well, in New York too, I know they gave like an extension to survivors, and basically if you can remember up to a certain point, you can file, a lawsuit and stuff like that. I'm sorry, I don't have the exact name. Anyway, and then they basically gave a Dream statement saying that it's not true, which I already read to you guys. Mangroe accuses Dream of locking her in a dark room and violently having sex with her before leaving her alone, naked in the dark for hours on end, forcing her to drink excessive amount of alcohol by roughly pulling her head back by her hair and pouring it down her throat, choking her until she almost lost consciousness, refusing to wear a condom during sex, ejaculating inside of her against her wishes, R-ing her in the back of the van, and forcing her to engage in sex acts in public in a movie theater. Yeah, you guys, all of that. They don't list it in here, but there was even a conversation that he had with Essence Magazine where he got the song called Pull Your Panties to the Side. Well, in the lawsuit, it alleges that she was the inspiration for that song, basically. And he, one day told her to take a picture and pull her panties to the side because he wanted to see. Yeah. Yeah. Allegedly. Let me just say that allegedly. Let me protect myself. She also alleges he recorded her during sex and used this recording to threaten her into silence. The suit states that Mangroe was contacted by associates of Dream in 2014 when she was 23 years old, looking for her big break as a singer while working in the United States on an international visa from the Netherlands. After sending over samples of her work, Mangroe, also known as Chanaaz Mangroe, was invited to join Dream in Atlanta, according to the complaint. From there, the suit alleges Dream made false promises to gain her trust, such as telling her he would sponsor her visa extension and write a blockbuster songs for her, as well as claiming she would open for Beyoncé on tour. In reality, Dream used Miss Mangroe for his base desires, which manifested into violent sexual acts and vicious psychological torture, the suit alleges. Additionally, the complaint states that Dream controlled all aspects of Mangroe's stay in the U.S. and tracked all. tracked her at all times, demanding she provide constant updates on her location. This is very similar to a lot of the stuff where, with Diddy that we know, Cassie wasn't able to do anything basically. And then when she tried to leave, we see what happens. Unfortunate situation. Dream is accused of manipulating Mangroe into believing she needed to let him completely control every aspect of her life. If she wanted to be successful as Beyoncé, using her admiration of the Texas Hold'em singer against her and claiming that they would be the next B. Now, she wasn't going to be no B and J. Come on now. There's only one Beyonce and only one Jay-Z, but that's what it says in the lawsuit. The producer intertwined business promises with violent sex, the suit states. Over time, Mangroe says she became increasingly isolated from her family. Again, we know a lot of times with these situations, they're separated from their family, and she's not even from here. She's from the Netherlands, so she really had nobody. I wanted to speak on, the control thing. He almost played like mind games with her, because he was all like, in order for me to write songs for you, I need to know about your life, which is not uncommon for a songwriter to be all like, okay, hey, what are you going through? But he would make her share or ask her to share like really personal graphic details about certain things that happen in our life. And it was to create this environment. I forgot what the word that he used, but to create this environment to where they trusted each other, and a lot of mind games. Shit is creepy, y'all. It's creepy. Again, this is allegedly. All right, continue. Dream also allegedly regularly kept a gun on him and would place the weapon next to Mangroe. As a warning, when forcing her to have sex, in one incident, he purposely banged her face against the sink in a bathroom after coercing her into sex. Per the suit, he allegedly R-ed her in the staircase of a studio. During this alleged R, Mangroe says Dream pulled her dress collar so tightly around her neck, and she was grasping for air, and thought she would not survive. All right, take a little break from that. I'll continue a little more, but I wanted to share some other stuff that I know. In the lawsuit, basically, she was singing songs, and he wanted her to kind of be the next Rihanna, because in some of the songs, he would mention that she was like a Rasta, which the girl is from the Netherlands. She's not Rasta nothing. That's Jamaica and stuff, and the islands. She felt forced to sing certain songs. He also wouldn't release her music. He would basically hold that over her, like, hey, this is mine, because again, this girl doesn't have any money. And whoever is paying for the music, that's who can release it and, put it out there. He had complete control. So another way that he had control over her was using this, well, you want your music out? You want to be a star? Well, this is a part of it, basically. That power dynamic. And the reason why that's important is because later on in the lawsuit, it gets to basically, she told Dream's manager, she told the people at Epic, which she was supposed to be signed to, told the people at Epic Records, she told her own manager what was going on and how Dream was progressively getting more violent. And basically, they were all like, oh, that... In the lawsuit, it put it like they were like receptive to it. And it was like, okay, well, we don't want you working with him. But then they're all like, because technically you signed a contract with Dream, you gotta work with him. So they forced her. At first, they were like, okay, we're on your side. You don't have to work with him. And then because of the contract, they're all like, well, you gotta kind of work with him and work within the parameters. And that was wrong, because I know a lot of, and the reason why I wanted to mention that for you guys is because a lot of times, a lot of people go like, well, why didn't nobody say anything? You should have went to the police. You should have went in this. Well, she necessarily didn't go to the police, But she did tell the people around, the people they were working with, like, hey, this is going on, like, help me, you know? And they just basically ignored it and was all like, it is what it is. That ain't right. That is not right at all. And what's not also not right, y'all not hitting that like button. If we can please hit that like button. We have 90 people in here in total from Facebook and on YouTube. What makes men with little clout? Yeah, exactly. Think they can disrespect and mistreat women. Right. Are we surprised by the inappropriate behavior in the people with power? No. That's the thing. I think we became so desensitized that it's kind of like, oh yeah, this is a thing. This is the music industry. This is how it is. Like it's crazy thinking about it that way. But even though a lot of the stuff in the lawsuit was disgusting, vile, I'm not excusing that, right? But it's almost all like, yeah, I can picture it. Like if somebody made an accusation about you, MB, I would be all like, oh wait, hold on, I don't think she would do that. But with someone like the Dream, I'm not too shocked. I can believe it or see it to be true. I can see it to be true. Mind you, I'm being careful with my words. I can see him doing this. I don't think it's like oh wait, hold on. This lady is just crazy. She out her mind. And don't get me wrong, it could be she's mad because her career didn't pop off. It didn't happen for her. Because I never heard of her stage name is Shani Monroe. I've never heard of Shawnee or Shani Monroe. I've never heard of that before. Chanii. I don't even think she's on. When I was looking on Spotify, I didn't see like any music from her at all. Like I've never heard of this woman before. Again, it's not shocking because there's a lot of artists that you never heard before because they might have got signed and then never became anything, It's not uncommon. Unfortunately, it's not uncommon. Yeah, I looked on Spotify again. I didn't never seen anything for this lady at all. Never heard of her. Can't tell you a record. There was a picture that I did find online from her of her. I just don't know if it's her for a fact because I at least wanted to verify her through social media before putting her picture out there because for me personally, because I try to be as honest with my journalism and with my channel, I don't feel comfortable putting a picture up of some lady if I don't know if it's her or not, because these allegations are crazy. Wild. As trafficking in its definition, a lot of these rappers, producers, and influencers would be behind bars. Yeah. And they should be behind bars. It's crazy. So now I ask you guys the question. Should Beyonce go ahead and separate herself, or should she still work with the Dream? And on top of that, okay, say she backs away from the Dream, right? But do you still sing the songs that he wrote for you? Do you still sing Cuff It and all these other songs? He wrote Single Ladies. I mean, that's one of her biggest songs, but I mean, she doesn't sing. I don't think she even sings that. I mean, she's a married woman. Why would she sing that song? But do you sing that song? What does she do now? Separate, separate, separate. What's up, Melanie? She said exactly 100%. Just like with Robert Kelly. Do you still sing his songs? Now, I know some of y'all still sing his songs, but I mean, as far as the artist, do you still sing his songs that he wrote? Because Robert wrote a lot of songs for people. Beyonce is just as guilty as everybody else that turned their back on this disgusting ass trafficking, disgusting things. I'll say this. I think a lot of people know about things that go on in the industry. They just don't say anything. And if you're one of those people who don't say anything, you're just as guilty as everybody else. You're just as guilty as everybody else. It's Wigdor and Fire Tog. That's the name of her lawyers. Those are the same lawyers as Cassie, by the way. Those are the same lawyers as Cassie. There's another little part in here. It says, and this is a statement from the lawyers. It says, while she will never fully recover from what he and those who supported him did to her, her willingness to speak out now is evidence of her extraordinary strength. We are honored to represent her. That was from the lawyers. That was their statement. And I do want to say this too as well. She's suing for 30 million. Now, it seems like, and I guess I would have to ask a lawyer about this because I'm very curious. Why does everybody sue for 30 million? Again, that's what they did with whatchamacallit. With the Diddy and Cassie situation, they did the 30 million. But with Dream, I don't think he's worth 30 million, but this is what they're suing for. Now, I do want to say this. Epic, everybody, all the companies and everything, all his companies and the record label, they're all in the lawsuit too. So, I mean, it's just not coming from him. But I just feel like, okay, this 30 million number, like, how do you actually add it up and then actually put a number on it? That part is always a little weird. I'm always all like, okay, is that like a go-to number? I know you put like a higher amount and then you guys meet in the middle and then that's if you guys do negotiating and stuff like that, right? Arbitration, that's the proper word. Arbitration. And then you guys work on a number and then boom, that's the number. However, why does everybody say 30 million? That's always kind of weird to me. You know, that's always like a weird number. It's kind of like, if I'm going to sue somebody, I'm going to show proof like this was the potential I could have made. And then this is what you actually owe me. I put those numbers together and then boom, that's how I got it. So that always makes me a little leery, like, okay, well, now everybody's just suing for 30 million. It's usually between the 20 and 30 million. And you guys can call me out if I'm lying, but doesn't it seem like those are the two numbers between 20 and 30 million usually? Praying. Oh, what happened? What happened to Sexy? What happened? Oh, it's too far up. Oh no, what happened? I can't see what happened, but if you guys can just go ahead and put hearts in the chat real quick for Sexy 60, I can't see what happened. I'm sorry. Catching up to some of your comments right now. Nobody would care if Beyonce continued to sing those songs. Oh, so Quentin, you feel like people wouldn't call her out? I feel like people would definitely call out Beyonce if she continued to sing those songs. Her sister passed. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. My condolences.